sexy, so good to me.
Hey, this is Sir Charles Carey. I want you to join me on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. for the Tru-Mu podcast, True Music. That's where we talk about all things.
I'm a musician, singer-songwriter, producer, engineer.
All things creative.
Me and my co-host, Carl T. Smith, the smooth one, will be glad to hear you, glad to talk to you, answer your questions, and talk all things music. The Tru-Mu podcast, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Be part of the energy.
I can see that thing that makes men stop, standing still, all in denial, suffer loss of will.
Hey, Sir Charles once more, and welcome to the Tru-Mu podcast, and that means true music, but we also talk about all things creative. I'm here, and I'm not alone. I'm here with that other guy, that other man, the smooth one, Carl T. Smith. Yeah, him. What's up, man?
Can't kill it, won't die.
I was waiting for. I'm like, if you don't say the catchphrase, that's not really Carl. AI has gotten into the Bronx.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna blame that one on George.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah.
Well, today is one of those days when I'll say this past few weeks, this month, it's been a crazy month for me, and I know recently it's been a crazy period of time for you. You've been traveling, you've been performing, you've been putting on events, you've been doing a lot of things, such as for me, I had a gig coming up, and I had to find somebody to help fill out the gig, and I was fortunate enough. I went to my go-to, and my go-to said, "Let me get back to you." And when she got back to me, she's like, "I can't do it, Charles, but I got somebody for you." I'm like, "What?" And she introduced me to Sharese Reid. Sharese, what's going on?
Hello, everyone.
All right, now, look, I was just telling the story about how we met and how you were the filler-inner, and Kiani had told me about you, and I was like, okay. And she said, "Let me know how things go." And I'm like, man, I had nothing to complain about.
Oh, good.
Absolutely. So this is Carl T. Smith, the smooth one. He's also a producer, a singer, songwriter.
How are you? Nice to meet you.
Just like me, only thing he's more smoother than I am. So that's why he's the smooth one.
He's a smooth cat.
You already know it. I think Michael Jackson bit off of his name with the smooth criminal,
He did something.
So look, Sharese, we start from the beginning, and then we bring it on up to the current time, like we always do every week with every guest, and today is no exception. So, okay, when did you first find out or figure out that you were interested in music or that you were good at music?
So I have my family background is all music. My father was a drummer.
Really?
He also, he was a drummer. He was in Hampton. Hampton is his alma mater, and he was in the drum line in Hampton. My grandmother, on my mother's side, my grandmother was a showgirl.
Really?
So so she used to sing at the clubs and things like that. So music is inherited,
Okay.
so, but I didn't start singing until I was forced to do something at church. And I chose to be in the choir because, I figured that was the easiest thing to do.
Right.
And I was very young, six or seven, and I did not like to sing. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like to be up there in front of everybody. And I had that sentiment until I was in high school, and maybe not high school, middle school, and they gave me a solo, and I was so reluctant to sing this solo because I had never had a microphone in my hand and actually stood in front of a choir. I was always in the background, stood in front of the choir and sing this solo. I was so nervous. and I sang the solo, and church folk, oh, it was so amazing, it was so great, and and all of that. So I think at that age, that's what really gave me the courage to continue putting myself out there. And that's the story for a lot of our people who are in music and they grew up in the church. That's where they first started singing, in the church. So that's where that was where I got my start.
So that's when the monster was born. Once you got that solo.
Well, no, not quite. I still didn't like it, but
okay.
that was the beginning of me pushing past my fear.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you still get nervous before you sing or perform?
It just depends. It depends. I think I'm more nervous if I don't feel prepared.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I was blessed to sing with a band called Honestly Soul, and they have been they're big in the Annapolis area, Ellicott City, Baltimore area. I was blessed to join their band for a couple years and perform with them on big stages like Ram's Head, and that really was, I grew up in that band as far as my ability to overcome that nervousness and perform and just go out there and be myself. That's when I learned that I can actually just be myself. I don't have to be like what I've seen growing up and try to emulate another musician or artist. I can just be, and it's acceptable.
Cool. You were like at 7 or 8 years old with the band? No, I'm just kidding. So, but before you got to the band though, like what was your music life or music experiences? What were they like before you got to the band? Like, did you do other things? Did you just do more choirs, ensembles? What was that journey like?
That journey, I definitely did choirs. That was my upbringing as a child.
Okay.
Once I became an adult in my 20s, I joined a couple gospel groups, local groups, and we used to perform at different churches, different events, and we traveled. We traveled to Delaware. I've traveled to New York. It was within on this side,
Eastern Seaboard.
Yep. So we were in that circuit, where we would see all the same artists. We're all performing at the same, So I actually was part of a group called Alvin Dockett and Blessed. And Alvin, I don't know if you've heard of him.
Alvin Dockett, hold on. Yeah. Alvin, he's from New Macedonia originally. His
probably.
Family.
He's local. Yep. His father was a pastor.
I knew him when he was a little kid, and I know he grew up in. He's a piano player, right?
Yes. He's also a director.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was in his group for a few years, and that's where I really learned how I learned technique.
Okay.
And he was he wasn't very strict, but he was particular about the sound that he was looking for.
Right.
So I learned how to round out sounds. I learned how to, use my head tones. I learned so many different techniques and strategies to singing. And I grew there as well as an adult. So yeah, Alvin Dockett, I give him a lot of credit because he really helped me with a lot. He doesn't know that to this day, but and I haven't talked to him in I can't tell you how many years, but just acknowledging and recognizing his his part in my growth.
Shoot, I could use some of his training right now.
You might not like it because he put
but that's probably good for us. A lot of times we don't like things that we need because we're used to doing it either the easy way, the lazy way, or our own way. And sometimes we got to be forced. That's what grooming and I think the nurturing in any industry, honestly, that's what it's really for, to make you better. Because even learning, how to sight read is like, oh God, you got to learn the scale and like all that kind of stuff. Do you
Yep.
read, by the way, or do you read music?
I do. I don't know why I forgot, but I played the clarinet from elementary school all the way to college. I went to Towson University for small period of time, but I got a band scholarship at Towson University in the marching band, and so I played the clarinet. Yes, so I do read music. I still read to this day, but we talked about this. If you don't use it,
Yeah, trust me, I got you. I got you.
lose a little bit of it. But at any point, I know that I've always had the ability to, if say the piano, if I want to play something or learn something, I can, if I really dedicate the time and effort into it, I can learn it. I've done it. I can still do it. I'm just not consistent. You know what I mean? And that's the, the thing about music. You have to be consistent if you really want to become either a professional or if you want to be fluent in whatever you're trying to accomplish.
Man, I knew this was going to be a good conversation, but now it's going to be gooder and gooderer. I still got my mouthpiece from, I think, 6th grade. I played clarinet for a few years. But I lost, like you say, you don't use it, you lose it. Carl, what you got?
So
you don't play clarinet, Carl?
I play clarinet. I play trumpet. I play cello. I played a whole bunch of instruments. But yeah, I did play clarinet. I ended up on saxophone.
Wow, it's kind of the same, right?
Same finger. D is a D, same way.
Reed's a reed, right? Yeah.
Reed's a reed, D is a D, same thing.
Yeah. You got any questions for Sharese, Carl?
So while you were playing with the group, have you recorded anything of your own music?
I did, so.
Or even after the playing with the groups, do you have your own stuff out?
So that
was a hard laugh.
It's a laugh because there's a story, of course.
It's always a story.
That's what we're
here for.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That's why you're here.
So I'll say this. I'm on other people's records. That's for sure. Gospel records and R&B. However, there was a song that I did. I wrote to it. It was a guy who he was a friend of mine, and he's all about pushing music, and he's also an engineer. That's kind of one of his hobbies. And he sent me a track and was like, "Hey, listen to this. See if you like it. If you want to write to it." And I didn't. This was my first time writing to music. I've always been a writer, so I have writings everywhere. They're in all different hiding places, corners, drawers. But this was my first time really taking a track and writing to it. And I did, and I loved it. We recorded it in his house. It was a small room, and we recorded it there, and he produced it. So I was pretty much the feature. It was his track. I featured by writing and rendering the vocals.
So you wrote lyrics only?
Yeah, I only wrote the lyrics.
Okay.
Now, writing music is very different. When I was in playing the clarinet regularly, consistently, I could write music, but not intricate music.
No, I got you.
Yeah, but so I did do that one recording. I still struggle with hearing my voice, in the studio. I still struggle with that. But I also have been working. I have a song that I've been working on, and I just need to reconnect with my people, and then just start that process. I ran into some bumps in the road with the guitarist, and so we pretty much have to write the song all over again, the melody, because he doesn't want me to use his melody unless he can produce it. And I did not like his, I didn't care for what he came to the table with.
You liked the different
approach. I wanted a different approach, and he didn't want me to use it. So that's kind of the bump in the road with that one. But we move forward. I love the song. That was part of the problem.
I get the feeling that some original music is going to be in your future, though.
It is. It is. But it's going to take time, it's time and money.
Understood.
Yeah.
So do you have a preference when it comes to genres? Are you more of a gospel person, contemporary gospel, old school gospel, or you're an R&B person, soul, neo soul, jazz? Do you have a genre that you lean towards? What are your top two?
So my top two, I'll say, is neo soul.
Mm-hmm.
So the Erykah Badu's, and right now I'm really heavy on Robert Glasper, who have you heard of him?
I think so. I think he was interviewed on R&B Money podcast with Tank and with Jay Valentine.
Oh yeah, with Tank. He probably was. He's more recently he did a huge collaboration with hip hop artists, and other neo soul artists. And his music is just it transcends time in a way. He was I think he's classically trained on piano.
Okay.
So he brings that classical piano sound to hip hop or to soul music, and it's just such an amazing merger. And so I've just been kind of on him for a while. I don't know if he's in one specific genre, but
oh yeah, he definitely was on the R&B Money podcast. I remember him. Yeah. I saw his picture.
Yep. So that's kind of, I lean towards neo soul and that
But old school. What I like about that approach is that you probably remember from Hidden Beach Records, it was called Unwrapped. It was a series where they would mix hip hop with classical, hip hop with jazz, hip hop with maybe a classical piano, a classical flute, and it just blended and lent itself so well. The merger was to me, it was awesome. I don't know why. In fact, if you think about it, what's that song? It's Your Birthday. They used that. They used Biggie. They used Tupac, and the blend was just, for me, I loved it. Like I say, I'm a millennial wrapped up in a boomer's body, so I'm I like a lot of that fresh new approaches to music. He's only 21, but I don't know what my age is. I just go with the feeling.
Why are you laughing?
You look 21.
Thank you. There you go. That's
right.
Yeah, I dyed this.
The energy.
Look, I dyed this. This is my natural color.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, Carl.
I mean, that's the trend now. Everybody's dyeing their hair gray. So
I'm saying
you on board.
It's funny. I did see a picture of the actress Jane Kennedy. I think it was 2 days ago, and her hair's all gray, but she looks great. She looks great. Yep. It's almost the same,
Yep.
So I'm glad I'm dying these days.
Yeah.
Did I say lying or dying? No, did I say lying or dying?
Yeah, right.
It's all good. So now we know that you write, or you can write. You're a lyricist. We know that you like the neo soul flavor. And by the way, I was glad that again we had a chance to work together, because that you just came right off the top and was so comfortable, and the audience loved you. And I personally can relate to the nerves thing. They say if you're not nervous, either you're doing something wrong, or too cocky or whatever. And I still get nervous from time to time, but I learn as a speaker, because I speak as well as sing. I learned some techniques on how to overcome those nerves. So I don't get nervous as much, but when I do feel it, I embrace it. I accept it like it's supposed to happen. So,
Is that part of your technique, just embracing it, or do you have other strategies?
No, there are other strategies. You know, people have to pay for those, but there are other strategies. No, but
well, you can text me.
Okay, I got you. No, honestly, I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now. Share with the world. One of the things is before you actually perform, say hello to the people in the crowd individually. Like, hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, where's so and so and so? You know, man, it's my first time here. This is a nice, you know, build rapport.
Yeah.
And when you do get the opportunity, oh, it's your turn to be up front to perform or sing or speak, whatever it may be, the nerves, they kind of die down because now there is a slight rapport that has been built. And if you're doing it right, where it comes across a bit genuine, but at the same time, a curious nature of, hey, how's it going? There is a comfort level that you've created for yourself, you know, which is why it's easy for me as a performer, as a vocalist, to also be a good or reasonably good performer. I can walk out into the crowd and engage with the people right in their seats, you know, versus just standing behind the microphone and not really moving. I can connect with the eyes, but to walk up to them and literally engage with them is almost like a piece of cake. Almost. Yeah. So yeah, I found that to be a big help. What else
and
you
I
got?
saw you do that. I'm observant. So I was just, you know, I observe people, you know, because I like to, I told you I'm flexible, right? So I came in to this is your playground. So I wanted to, you know, I just wanted to feel it out a little bit. I did notice that you were personable and you talked to the people and, you know, you said a couple things in the mic. And so, yeah, I definitely, that's a great approach and you're right.
But not only that, the players, like the three of us we got the attention of the people, if you will. But once we have a mutual understanding of who we are and how we're engaging, that also creates a comfort level, a comfort zone. So, you know, like I told you, like if I'm doing too much, give me a hand signal. I'll lay back because I don't want to step on your song while you performing. You know,
it's that mutual respect.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
What you got, Carl?
What's your proudest moment in this music business? There's a whole lot of them. I see you looking way up. Okay, go ahead.
That's my tick. I look up.
Pick one. That's what
I'm saying. Right? You looking way up. She look left. She look right. She look. She
got the one in the middle.
I'm all the way up. So my proudest moment was allowing myself to be free on a stage that was once intimidating. That was my proudest moment.
Good one. That's a real good one. Because that's why I think you have so many people, not just as artists or professionals, but that's why there's so many people that are on the sidelines in any industry because they have not been able to do what you've done, what you just expressed. And I think that is so big.
Yeah. I think a lot of times as musicians, and I'll say myself, we care a little bit too much about what somebody else might think or what they, you know, how they may feel about your vocal style, ability, or what have you. And I think that a lot of times keeps you stagnant. You know.
Agreed. Oh, look, we just got a hello from Mr. John R. Lewis, the
guitar
and piano player extraordinaire. Yeah, John was holding it down. I tell you,
he was.
John opened up the show with some. I guess you could say gospel.
It was him. It was like him.
But it was just nice. I loved it. It was beautiful. So shout out to John R. Lewis for always coming through and holding it down. And you know, we got some other things that we talked about behind the scenes in store for our future. So I'm looking forward to doing that and sharing some of those moments with you as well. Carl asked you about one of your proudest moments. What was one of your not so proudest moments as a creative, as an artist, as a singer or musician? If you can share it.
Now that one, she's not looking way up.
No, I'm not. Look at you critiquing my thought process.
See, I told you he was smooth. You gotta watch him.
My not so proud moment.
Just say none.
I think no, because that wouldn't be authentic.
Okay.
There have been times where I gave up, where I just said, I don't want to do it. You know, I backed out, I chickened out. You know
earlier,
what I mean?
Earlier in your career?
Yeah, okay. Earlier. And because of the too much fear of what other people may think, or just my own insecurities, or just not feeling like I'm, I can match the energy of whoever I envision myself trying to be. That's why, earlier I said it's so important to be able to be myself. And as I've grown and evolved in my own personal life, I have learned to embrace all of me, every facet of who I am.
So as it relates to that you're not giving the standard responses, which is great, because I know other people have said, and even myself, one of my worst moments is the time we did a gig and we didn't get paid, or something like that, or trying to hit the high note and you couldn't hit it and your voice cracked, which makes sense. But I like what you're sharing, because it's dealing with the mental side of it, the mindset aspects of anybody, any profession, but we're talking about the creatives of the world. But that's really important, because a lot of people are not even comfortable enough to admit or to even realize, wow, I basically sabotaged myself, or I stunted my own growth. So I think your responses are really phenomenal. So I definitely can appreciate that. I know for myself, and I'm not sure if Kiani, if you're out there, hopefully she'll hear this. I believe I was like I was singing the national anthem where I worked at for a while. And I don't remember if I said I wasn't going to do it anymore because I felt like they were taking me for granted, or they may have decided, let's try someone else. I forget what the reasoning was, but they chose to use someone that either could not make it, and I'm not sure if Kiani was there this time, or was pulled to do something else, that they were not available. And so then at the last minute, said, "Get Charles, come on, get Charles." And I was like, no, you didn't want me, so no, don't call me now. I'm not.
Right.
And I went. I was prepared, because I always, try to dress the part. I went and I was so reluctant, and because I was reluctant, my energy was downtrodden. Yeah. And then I got the dry voice because I didn't want to do it, but at the same time, I didn't want to show up in a negative fashion. But I came on, and I think it just made me almost like feel like a rookie, like, now I'm doing it, And but then from that point on, I told them, I said, y'all should use Kiani because she's good, and she would do it whenever they needed someone to do the national anthem. She did it several times. And because I knew her abilities were more than appropriate to do that. So, but yeah, that was one of my not so glorious moments, though. But yeah,
I think I can talk all day long about all the fails that I've had where the notes that I didn't make. I tried, my finger was up too, and all of that. I did it all. The eyebrows was up. The note wasn't up. So it's so easy to talk about all of the presumed fails in the industry with a mic in your hand, or even because I've sung with go-go bands, a lot of local go-go bands, or bands who sing all covers. and had issues with payment. They said I would get paid this, but at the end of the day, after the gig, the very next day, I got paid this, and it just wasn't, you know what I'm saying? And being in positions where I remember I was asked to be a part of this group, and it was a band, and I went to their rehearsal, and that was my last rehearsal. Let me just say that. I get there, and we're practicing a couple of the songs. The lead singer gets into it with the piano player, and then they just kind of, you feel that tension, and they just keep going back and forth throughout to the point where I thought they were about to fight. And I'm the only female in there, and there's all these brothers.
Wow.
And I said to myself, never again. And the guy who put me onto this band, I asked him, I said, what do you think of me? Because to put me on with these people, and that they have this tension,
internal conflict.
Yeah. So I have so many stories.
Wow.
But I just don't group them in my proudest or my,
she's heard stories and she's heard fate. Was Vicious on the mic and the turntable. Hey, we also have another guest by the name of, I call him Easy D, because we have a long history. Daryl Morrison. Daryl, what's going on, Easy?
Hey, what's up, brother Charles? Long time, bro.
No doubt. How you doing, man?
Hey, everything's moving well, man. Everything's doing well.
Well,
I see you still doing your thing, man.
Got to, man. Look, I would say that's all I know, for lack of the right words, but like Carl and I say almost every week, I can't shake this thing. I'm just a sucker for it, so hey. So
hey, man, that's a great thing, brother.
What's happening in your world? First of all, congratulations on the milestone of, overcoming and finishing your treatment over cancer. Much blessings to you on that. So grateful that you were able to.
I appreciate that, bro.
So what's happening with you on the music front? I know you have a band and you do play in church. How does that work out for you?
Oh man, it's pretty good. It keeps me busy, I play with a gospel group called the Anointed Travelers. Head southwest. And man, I mean, we travel all over in South Carolina. And I also play with an R&B group called Just Us. And we're basically just kind of starting out again. I mean, we used to play in the past, and we decided to get back together again. Got a couple of shows coming up. Alumni Fest coming up in Mullen, South Carolina. And I just been really, busy with it, man. Play the bass and the keyboard. I play the keyboard for.
Okay.
Yeah, I play keyboard for the R&B, and I play bass for the gospel group.
Nice.
But
nice.
Things are pretty well, man. I mean, I'm dying to get you some material, man.
Oh, please do.
I don't. It seems like I can't get time to go to a recording studio at the moment, but pretty soon I think I'm gonna go ahead and invest in that, man, and get this stuff down, man, and share it with you guys. Let y'all hear what I'm working with.
For sure. Would love to, man. Even if you can just get your basic drum track down with a bass line, we can see what we can make happen with that. That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, because hey, believe it or not, I've been playing with some of your songs, man. And
okay.
I said, man, I wish I would have had a chance to record that with you.
Oh man, you probably make the song better, I'm sure, man. With your diversity, I'm sure.
Yeah, it sounded. I wish I should have recorded it. I do have old school material like a tape recorder, cassette tape. But I just ain't had time to shop around to get what I really need right now. My mom passed, and lot of people are dying around me, man, and you know, I'm trying to hold down the fort,
Right.
because she's no longer here, and a lot of family members kind of like depend on me, you know,
Well,
and
look
I
at it as
try to be there.
I see that as because I kind of see a similar thing in my life. It's a more of a responsibility versus a burden, and because you have the ability, it's coming down your path or across your path. So I'm sure between you and the Most High, when you give yourself a time and opportunity to think about it, you make the right decisions on behalf of those family members. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, you know what it's like, man. I know you lost your mother too, man. And
Yes, sir.
yeah, man. It's like a domino effect, man. I mean, we all getting hit right now.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's
Yes,
it's
sir.
kind of like time for us to take over, man, and try to
Yes.
keep the family together, man.
Yeah.
You
So,
know.
Sharese, let me ask you this. Um, as it relates to bands and solo artists, whether it's a female or male solo artist, what do you have any favorites?
A lot of favorites. I mean, my father was a jazz head and
Okay.
and soul music, so I listened to a lot of Tower Power,
Really?
yeah, Spiral Gyra.
Oh
I love Shaka Khan. I love Aretha Franklin.
Stop
Um,
playing. Okay.
yes, absolutely. Of course, Badu, Jill Scott. So this is the reason why I love Jill Scott. She is so poetic, and her level of control in her vocals is paramount. And I have never heard anyone so controlled in her spoken word and singing, how she just kind of fluidly, goes from one to the other. So I love her. I love her creativity. I would put Jill Scott at the top of my list on new artists for sure. Anita Baker, when she decides to perform.
How about that?
So yeah, in
Do you
Luther
think you
Vandross,
could?
as far as I'm sorry.
No, I would say, do you think you could? Because everyone that's been out or that is out has their own image and their own style. Do you think you can adopt what Jill has done for your own sort of material, as far as a poetic yet neo soul jazz flow? You think that's something you would be interested in trying to do for your own material?
For sure.
Okay.
Her style resonates with me.
Good.
And because I I started writing poetry when I was very, very young. And I've always wanted to merge the two. And she came out in my era. She was the first person to bring the two together so well and so melodically and fluidly. And so that was really inspiring for me. And we, just like any other young Black girl, you're like, oh, this is a thing. Like, I can do this. So yeah, definitely resonates, and I certainly would incorporate that style into my methods as well.
Well, she was the first that I know of, and I could be wrong. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Sharese Reid. She's a vocalist, and we are walking down the path, her journey, her creative musical path on this and that as it relates to music and as it relates to how music has impacted her life. Feel free to ask questions, post comments, and again, thanks, Reba. My publicist, Reba Barnes, is on the line too. But Jill was the first, and you guys correct me if you know better than I do, but Jill Scott was the first female vocalist that I know of on Hidden Beach Records that lent her style to that unwrapped flavor with the classical with hip hop and jazz with hip hop, and I never forgot it. You know, I think she was working with the Roots at that point.
Roots, yep.
But it was like that drum was fly. I still like neo soul.
Yep.
Carl, what you got?
Well, let's see. We know that all her stuff is up here and all that is down here. What advice would you give to an upcoming artist that looks up to you?
Do your own thing.
There you go. No, for real. Yeah.
Do your own thing. The beauty of us as human beings is that we are all unique in our own way. We all if we don't find that uniqueness within ourselves, then we don't have it to offer to others and in our creativity. And so I think what's most important, as you know, I've spoke about my journey of really embracing who I am as a woman and as an artist, as a creative. It was heavily attributed to me accepting and embracing me, the heart of me, and finding my own purpose and uniqueness. So while, you know, if someone were to look up to me, I appreciate that. And at the same time, yes, you can draw from all these different creatives and incorporate it into your style. But what's most important is really figuring out who you are as an individual and what it is that you have to offer as a creative.
Man, there you go, man. Look, shoot, you need to be teaching class.
Yeah, right.
These are life skills.
That's all good. That's all good. Well, in fact, let's do this first. Carl, would you be so kind as to share a little bit about this upcoming event we've got?
On May 24th, on Saturday, May 24th, we're getting together up in New York, in the Bronx, and we are performing at the Rafael Hernandez Auditorium. And on the stage that day will be Sir Charles Carey, the group Overtime, and me, you know. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun and doing some stuff up here in New York, and then hopefully we'll be back down in Maryland soon. But if you want to attend this event, you can attend this event as our guest. If you just go to vip.smooth1.com, that's vip.smooth1.com. You can get some in-live tickets, but you can also, we're going to try something new, which is we're going to try to stream it live. So anybody everywhere can check it out. So use that link and you can be in the house free. No, I didn't say that. As our guest. you could be in the house as our guest. vip.smooth1. Hope to see everybody there.
Wow, that's fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
Like I said, great.
Yeah, I look forward to coming home and sharing it with all the family in New York, because that's where we all started out from. That's the original stomping ground, New York City. And there's no audience like a New York audience. Frank Sinatra said it best. Look, Frank Sinatra said, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. And believe it or not, I was one of those corny cornball kids that I love the Rat Pack just like I love Kool and the Gang. So, I'm all in. I'm all in. But now we come to a certain segment of the show where we got a little game. And for the past 2 or 3 episodes, the game has evolved. So it's a thumbs up or thumbs down, depending on what your perspective is, Sharese. So you tell us where you stand. And this week, we want to ask you to pick a category, either jazz, soul / R&B, blue-eyed soul, movie directors, or music producers. Pick your own category.
What was that? Soul, R&B soul?
Yes.
That what that was? Let's do that.
Okay. Cool.
But what year though?
Various. Look,
Because right now there's a shortage of.
Well,
Trying to hear the same songs.
for sure. When you hear the artist, if you don't know them, you can go right in the middle. You don't have to go up or down. You can go right in the middle.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start with because the soul and R&B list is a long list because obviously many of us have lent ourselves to them heavily over the years. So, LMA.
Am I supposed to name the?
I'm gonna give you the name, and you give us a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Oh, okay, got it.
Or sideways, depending on your view. And if you have any extra commentary about it, feel free to just throw it out there. Okay. LMA.
I'm gonna go like this.
Not up, just like
we gotta add that one to the thing. Okay.
We getting there.
Yeah,
okay.
We getting there. She gotta grow on me, but I don't listen to her music enough.
I remember how she first came out, and she came out to me as a kind of a pop artist, straight up.
Yes, yeah.
And she was even on Oprah Winfrey, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
When I heard it,
I didn't feel the soul there. You know what I mean? I just felt like it's another voice that's out there, and it's a nice voice.
Yeah.
But I just need more depth. That's for me.
When I heard it do a duet with Usher, I was like, oh, snap. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Omarion.
On vocals alone?
Or B2K, I guess. I don't know.
Oh. That's not my. I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
Hey, it is what it is. Christina Aguilera.
She be running. Oh Lord.
She run for days.
I'm gonna do this. Yeah, it's teetering. I think she has a good voice. I just think that she just runs and just cuz. You know what I mean?
Right. Carl, if you want to throw some out there, feel free to do so. But I got a long list here. What about Bruno Mars?
Oh, for sure. Bruno is a fantastic artist, producer, entertainer, singer. He's really great.
Ari Lennox.
Yeah, I'll give her the.
Ooh, we gotta create that category, Carl.
Yeah. We're gonna have there's gonna be a whole spectrum.
Okay, get ready for this one. Coco Jones.
I like her, and I'm starting to like her more, so I'm gonna give her the thumbs up.
Singer, not the actress, but the singer.
Yes, the singer. I think she has a new song out that I really enjoyed.
She does.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna throw a little hook in there. Etta James.
Ooh, that's the she gets the double thumb.
Okay. SWUNV.
SS double U to the S double.
All right, we get a couple more. Monica or Brandy. Pick one.
It's either one or the other. It's Brandy for me.
Okay. Okay, I got a good one for you. Drew Hill or Jodeci?
Oh, that's a hard one. Oh, why you do that?
I know, right?
I'm gonna go with Jodeci.
Yeah, I would have gone with Jodeci too.
I'm gonna go with Jodeci. They just got that.
Don gives him a thumbs up.
Oh man, for sure.
But Easy D, I want to bring you back for an exclusive episode if you will be available, because I want to dig a little more into the musicianship as a pianist, as a bass player, so we can go down the musical trail with you. So if it's okay with you, we would love to hit you back on another day to give you an exclusive discussion if that's okay with you. But stick around. Don't go nowhere.
Oh yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah. I just want to say what's up to Carl. I ain't seen you in years.
What's up, Daryl?
Carl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Jam Burger?
Yeah. Wow, you dug him up, boy. I tell you that.
Yeah. It's been a long time. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, nice.
Good to see you, brother.
Look, they say
Likewise.
better to be seen than to be viewed. So
Yo, I tell you that.
That's the truth.
Back to here,
But-
Neo or Chris Brown.
Me?
Yeah.
Nia. Oh no, Chris Brown.
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, Neo is a good producer though, but his voice is.
I like everything about Neil, but Chris
Yeah.
Brown is killing the game.
Yeah.
He is the
Yeah.
bar. Then
Yeah,
next, I would
yeah.
say it would be Usher. That's just me.
Oh yeah.
That's who it should have been. It should have been
Yeah,
Chris Brown
yeah.
or Usher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, that's a hard one, but I would go with Usher with that.
Mm.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because Usher definitely has that smooth, mature, but if you ask a younger person, they'll probably tell you Chris Brown. So,
Okay, that makes sense.
mhm.
I would be torn, but I probably would lean to Chris because I look at Chris as today's Michael Jackson, if you will.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even though I know Mike probably worked with Usher more so than a Chris Brown. So
Yeah.
But anything you got coming up or anything you'd like to share?
No, I don't. I actually don't have anything musically coming up other than the song that that the couple songs that I'm working on. But I haven't even really started reaching out to my producer or anything just yet. I mean, he knows that I'm going to be calling soon, but so no, I haven't. I don't have any music coming out. Not this year anyway.
Okay.
Maybe next year.
All right. Well, look,
Yeah.
we definitely look forward to working. I know, excuse me, I'm looking forward to working with you on other things down the line. I know that's yet to come because next stop is New York for working with the Smooth One in this show, Smooth One, and we're gonna do what we do. Actually, about 10 days, whatever it is, it's almost time. And I want to, who's it? Silver Fox says hello. I'm not sure who that is, but hello, Silver Fox. Thanks for joining in and listening to the commentary. And then Miss Reba Vaughn says, consider Miss Jean. Okay, I can't see this name. Infant Eyes. I'm not sure what that is. Consider Miss Jean Carn. Oh, Jean Carn. Oh, yeah, Jean Carn. That's Philadelphia right there, right? I think she's Philly. She's the Philly girl. And the unforgettable Infant Eyes. Okay. But yeah, if it's been a great opportunity to discuss these different comments. Like I said, I love your perspective. Your responses were really mentally stimulating because they were not the norm. So that's fantastic. I hope folks that have been on have gotten something out of our conversation with Sharese. And if you have any comments or any further questions, please feel free to post them even in the replay. You can hear this entire conversation on YouTube as well as Facebook. And I'm just looking forward to more opportunities to learn more about what you're going to be doing, hear the new material, and again, working more in the future because look, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Bottom line, this is what we do. We love doing what we're doing. There's no ifs and buts about it. So with that being said, Carl, closing comments.
It's great meeting you. You sound fantastic. When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
You're funny and so smooth.
Yeah, folks. So once again, until next time, be part of the energy.